Alright, alignment bushings, high spindle torque. Assemble the steering knuckle to the axle yoke and tighten the nut on the lower ball joint to 70 foot-pounds. Torque the adjusting sleeve and the axle yoke to 70 foot-pounds using the appropriate spanner socket. The sleeve should go below the top surface of the axle yoke. Right there. Never back off the slotted nut to align the cotter pin hole. Always continue tightening to the next available slot. Install and spread the cotter pin. Ball joint should be... That's it, 70 foot-pounds. To the bottom one first. I've got my beautiful Snap-on CDI torque products. I thought it was a Snap-on. Oh well. 35 bucks at a garage sale. CDI torque products. Industry, City of Industry, California. Alright, I'm going to crank this baby down with my beautiful torque wrench. Laser etched. That's it. 70. Someone said if you click it twice you're over tightening it. Well, first of all, this is crude and rude stuff. And second of all, it's not over tightening it because I'm watching the socket and it's not moving. So some people are just a little too fussy about things that aren't as critical as they would like them to think they are. Would like to think they are. Alright, next. Tighten the upper one. Make sure that's all the way engaged. Step on the oversized socket. Crank down this upper ball joint. I've done this before. 70 foot-pounds. In the bike lane next to runners, jogging on the sidewalks, past the falls of St. Anthony with the mist rising from the time to use two hands. That's it. 70 foot-pounds. So then I'm going to put some grease in here, some fluid film. I'm going to put the new nut on, giant nut. And grease it, put the axle back in, and maybe change the rear differential fluid before I go, and maybe the transmission fluid would be nice to change that. Alright. It's happening. Parts are starting to disappear off the ground. Alright, time to do the upper one. It says 100 foot-pounds and never back off. So there's 100 on clean, lightly oiled threads. And oh boy, I got a long way to go to that cotter pin hole. Yeah, long way. It's going to be bloody tight. A little more. I don't know if I mentioned, but there was one Batwing fairing on eBay for $1,200 and change that I called up on. And the guy called me from a motorcycle shop. He builds choppers with frames from northern Quebec. Thunder City Choppers or Thunder Road Choppers. Anyways, we were chatting and he quoted me $1,200 for the Batwing fairing in gloss black, delivered to my door with an AM/FM fancy radio with all the inputs and outputs in gloss black, or $125 less in flat primer, and Pisser's got it painted anyways to match my bike. So Missy CW said I could buy it, but no 5-speed kit, which she said is a RevTech made in Korea, which is not as bad as China. Probably the same as Taiwan. There's my old cotter pin. So I think I'm going to go for that $1,200 Batwing fairing. I'm going to look around a little bit more, make sure it's the right one. I put a Batwing fairing on my Fat Boy with a radio and speakers so I can listen to the news while I eat my carrots while I ride to Laconia. Alright, time for a cotter pin. That's torqued down. Next, put this in. And put the axle in. Cotter pins. Bombardier, made in Canada. Boy, I've had those for 20-something years. Crazy. Some people tighten their cotter pins one tooth up and one tooth down. I guess there's no right way. I'm going to hammer that one down. I don't think there's going to be any problem here with this thing coming loose. Make sure it's all the way through. Put the tool like that and go. There's probably a way to do it in the industry. I'm sure I'll be hearing about it from the guys that know better than me, that are trained in their jobs and go through certification. The only certification I go through is Mrs. CW saying, "Are you doing that right?" Yeah, right. Spray it with fluid film. Promotional fluid film. Soak it right in the hole. So next time I have to change it in 250,000 more miles, it comes out. All right. Axle next. All right. I got that all cleaned off. Let's shove it in the bowl. This axle is dirty.
I'll do this one perfectly.
A little crud in there wouldn't hurt a thing. Yep. Why it was so hard to get this axle out of here. But whatever.
It's a mighty hard road.
There's a burr on the end of the shaft. I should have checked that. Going. I'm using a very small hammer, not to inflict damage. She's going in. You watching? Yep. Plunk. Weird.
The grapes from your vine to set on your table, your light sparkling wine. Green pastures of plenty.
That's it. Yep. It's up against the divider pin. Spider gear holder aparter pin. 35 seconds left.
You learned to speak Cantonese, though.
It's coming together. Axle's in, backing plate's on. Axle extension, bearing surface. Oh, almost out of memory again. Well, what is it? 2 hours later? And I just deleted a video from 6 weeks ago that I forgot that I hadn't deleted. Well, I've got it all back together. All buttoned up, calipers back on. Got to pump the brake, get the pedal up before I drive down the road and have no brakes till the piston fills up and moves down in the caliper. I'm adjusting the tie rods now. When I put this new steering box on a couple months ago, where is it? Over there. My steering was off set, so I loosened up those 2 bolts there. And can I help you?
Tear them apart just to make sure you still remember how?
No, I just changed the upper and lower ball joints. They weren't so bad for a zillion miles. Just adjusting my tie rod sleeve right now, and it moves. It's not rusted. Well, it was moving, but I tightened the bolts a bit. So loosen those 2 up, and the sleeve pulls the tie rod there that way, and it turns your steering. And that's how you adjust your alignment, because it was offset, it wasn't pulling, just the steering wheel was cocked to the left. So now, I think I've got it aiming straight down the road. I could use the string trick, but it's not the biggest deal. I think I'm pretty close. So I'm going to tighten up these 2 bolts. Oops, I know the light. Going to tighten up those 2 bolts right there. And spray some fluid film on that rust. And put the wheel back on, and everything's all sprayed with fluid film. Hope I didn't miss any spots. All coated, all greased up. And I've still got to change that upper bushing in there with my extra heavy duty one that I got from DIY 4x4 when I get around to it. Big job. Another big job. Alright. Let's put the wheel back on and go for a test drive.